coverage.
That's a team that's trying to win a Stanley Cup.
Are you betting your season on what you have right now?
On TV, the Sportsnet app, and sportsnet.ca. With breaking news and insider information from hockey's most connected sources.
This is the ruthless pursuit of the Stanley Cup.
Hockey Central Trade Deadline, presented by Bet365, March 8th on Sportsnet.
After a night out with your friends, not having a plan for a safe ride home can leave you in a bad spot. You could end up riding in a police car, an ambulance, or a hearse. These unplanned modes of transportation can be a costly choice and do not take you home. Your plan could include a designated driver, a taxi, or public transit. Drink responsibly, choose your ride, and have a plan for a safe ride home.
Visit arrivealive.org to find out more.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Black History Month episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Laurabel. On today's episode, I am joined by two wonderful guests, Brian Amadi, who is a wonderful visual artist, who's going to be showing us a little bit about Black art, or the art of being Black, here in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm also going to be joined by colored youth activist Olivea Rollins, who's going to be talking about her personal experience, the importance of Black History Month for her, and what she's doing to make sure it's more of a permanent existence here within our province. I can't wait to get into great conversations with them, and we'll see you in just a second. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by Brian Amadi, visual artist, and I'm so excited to have you here, Brian.
I'm so excited to be here.
So it took a ton of convincing, but now you're finally on the couch.
I'm camera shy.
It's okay. It's okay. We're glad to have you. So it's Black History Month, and you are, to me, very well known in the artist community and within the Black community for the great impact you're making. So I want to give our chance for our viewers to get to know a little bit about the band behind the art before we dive into the art. Okay. So how did Brian end up on this couch?
Actually, I took the bus up. Well, it's been a journey, I think. That's a really broad question.
Okay,
like,
so
there's
let's narrow it down a little bit. So when you first came to Newfoundland and Labrador, was it to be an artist?
No, it was not. Art was not really something I thought I could pursue, like career-wise. Everyone I spoke to, like from when I was a kid, told me it was a hobby. You could not make a living off of art. Art was something you did after you got home from work.
Okay.
You know, and it was not until my third year at university that I realized, well, I didn't really realize it. I just decided that I wanted to still do art regardless of whether or not I could make money from it. And when I started with a business of mine where I painted denim jackets and you know, gave it to people, sold it to people. And it became lucrative. I actually pretty much learned to paint through that business. It was able to keep me going, especially in school where I didn't have as much expenses as I have right now. I was able to live off of that, and it opened my eyes to the fact that you could actually make a living off of art. Like most of the people that say it only say it because of their limited knowledge of how the art world operates or how to be an artist. I feel like a lot of people from the outside of the art community see it as a glamorous, unsustainable way of living in terms of like long-term career trajectory. And however, once you get into the art community, a lot of people know how to do this, how to use it for a living. So it took me, after I graduated, like a year after I graduated, me realizing like I could pursue this full time, and I could decide to follow my passion and be an artist, you know, the cliche stuff. But it really does help when you're passionate about what you're doing. I think putting financial barriers in front of your career or your passion, and letting that financial barrier stop you from chasing your passion is really not the way we should go about living our life in society. I feel like if everyone could follow their passions, we would all be living a better life.
And that's so insightful to hear. So I knew you from when you started painting jackets, and
Yeah.
I've seen your career trajectory grow immensely.
Oh, thank you.
But I want to know, what is the inspiration behind a lot of the work you do? Because a lot of it is very emotional work.
So I'm someone who's lived by myself for a good bit of my life. Starting from boarding school, I schooled in Ghana as well, and then here. I've always had that question, that identity question, like what makes a person them? Like what is the social rules to follow and all of that? Because coming from, say, Nigeria and going to a country like Ghana that's just next door, there's different cultural there's just different cultures that people follow. There's different things that people think are super important, and then going from that culture to Canada, entirely different sphere again, right? For example, one of the things that is important is greeting.
Yeah.
Back home, like greeting is super important. You wake up in the morning, you have to say good morning to your dad.
Your
you have to say
mom.
good morning to your mom.
And every adult in any visual
Everyone,
vicinity.
yeah, and it's such a huge thing. Like if you don't say good morning, your day could end up being ruined,
Yeah.
and you get punished for it. And
Absolutely.
it's extremely important. And they say that's the only way to live life. And then you come here, and no one even cares about greeting.
Nope.
And so it's stuff like that making me ask the question of what exactly are we just making up and using to like bind us in society? Because a lot of people, greeting is just an easy example, but there's a lot of other different rules and conventions that we follow that's actually detrimental to us. And it leads to a lot of pain in just day-to-day existence. And having lived in all these different places, it exposed me to the fact that there's a lot of loneliness and pain in our society today. I think that's what most of my art is about.
Okay.
About empathy, building that unity, I guess, in how we experience ourselves in society. Yeah.
So it's Black History Month.
Yeah.
And we are both
Black
very
History
excited
Month.
about this month.
Yeah.
And so the Canadian theme for Black History Month is Black History, a heritage to celebrate, a future to build. But the American theme is Black arts. And so for you, what has been the importance in showing the Black experience in your art for you?
So this Black History Month, I decided to start a project called The Art of Being Black. I started it super late. Like the idea came to me super late at like the end of January, the last week of January, because I had a conversation with someone and I told them I was from, I plan to stay in Newfoundland. And they were so shocked that I was from Nigeria and I plan to stay in Newfoundland. And they were like, what are you doing here, kind of thing. And I had, the conversation surrounding that. And it really just brought back a lot of thoughts about how Black people are viewed here as transitory. Like we're temporary people in Newfoundland. We're just here for a short period and we'll be leaving. And while I appreciate Black history, I decided to focus and highlight Black people that are here right now. Because I feel like there's a lot of celebration of glorious past Black people, and they've done a lot of work. The ancestors have laid down the groundwork for what we have right now. However, I wanted to highlight the fact that there's Black people here, especially in Newfoundland, who are incredible and who deserve to be here, who belong here, who are part of the society of Newfoundland. And like we have third generation black people here.
Absolutely.
You know, I feel like once you hit third generation, there's no leaving.
No.
Honestly, first, like when you get here off the bat, if you're here for like, I think if you're anywhere for 5 years, the chances you leave that place becomes a little shaky. So to think that we would just come and leave after such a time, I was like, I need to do art to challenge that. I need to do art to show that we are comfortable here and this is our home.
So in the process of making that art, have there been any points where you've been taking these photos and filming these scenes where you've been like, this is us, this is as valid as we ever decide to be? Okay,
so part of the art, how do I put the scope of the project is me creating me putting black people in different shapes of not just like how they are on a regular day, but like, for example, we worked with Ever After Bridal.
Yeah.
They gave us some dresses we could use for the shoot. It was actually so incredible of them, incredible support. And I was able to put this beautiful black woman in this beautiful dress at a plant store, Calatheus, downtown. And in that moment, she was so happy. The photographers I work with 5 other photographers, and they were so happy doing that shoot. And I was looking through my lens, and it just felt glorious.
That's
so,
amazing.
yeah, it's been very rewarding, and it's made me feel even more comfortable with myself as a black person here, because I'm not, to be honest, there's sometimes I'm in some spaces and it feels like I shouldn't be there long. Like I should just get what if I'm going to buy something, buy it and leave, or if I'm going to hang out somewhere, hang out there for like as the least amount of time I can get away with and then be on my way. But to be able to go into these spaces and build a set or build like a scene that I'm taking a video of, I feel like that has increased my confidence of being. It's also helped me realize that like I don't need to be in such a hurry. Like this is my home. Like it's something I wanted to say, but it's not something I'm beginning to feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I got 1 more minute with you before I have to let you go back to your busy schedule. When you think about Black history continuously being made and Black people finding themselves within Newfoundland and Labrador and finally being able to say, this is my home too, what do you want our viewers to know about us as a people and our experiences?
I think one of the biggest things I would say is even though we have a specific experience in terms of how we navigate society as a marginalized group, Black people we're not monolithic. So there's a variety of people you'd meet. The fact that you've had an experience or a specific experience with this Black person doesn't mean that's how Black people are. It's just that's how that person's upbringing is. Black as a terminology is also fictitious, so to expect that to define someone is not reasonable at all. So I think take it with every Black person you encounter, look at them as a new person that you know nothing of and try to experience them with the beauty that they present.
That's perfect. Now, if people want to see the art of being Black, where do we find you, Brian?
So I'll be posting all of the videos I'm creating on my social media.
Yeah.
We also plan to have an exhibition sometime next month. We're looking at either the 1st or the 15th.
Okay.
Depending on the sponsors we get. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing people at the exhibition and, to forward to seeing people see it on social media as well.
Brian, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I'm now joined by the one and only Olivea Rollins, colored youth activist. Olivea, thank you for joining me.
And you're welcome for having me. Thank you for inviting me to have this opportunity.
So I'm really excited to have you here because we are in the midst of Black History Month, and I have gotten to know you in a variety of situations, and one thing that has always drawn me to you is your activism. And I think that's where I want to start with you. So we're in the middle of Black History Month, and you made it your personal mission over your time in school to make sure that your high school celebrated Black History Month. Mm-hmm. So for you, why was that so important?
For me, implementing and seeing the fruition of Black History Month throughout the high school I went to, it was important for me because I was the only Black girl in my grade. Growing up from kindergarten to graduation, I was the only Black student in my grade, 1 out of 6. And instead of learning about who Black people are, we learned about the Atlantic slave trade. We never learned about who we are. We learned about the Indigenous students after 2020. And I was like, okay, there's no recognition for Black students. Why don't I make that my mission, my duty, to make sure there's representation within our education system, especially in Torbay, which is a closed-off little town. People need to be able to learn and be educated on these types of things because ignorance is very prevalent within the province. Because it's not a lack of wanting to learn, it's a lack of knowledge. Because when racism is exuded by these young people, half of them don't understand that what they're saying is wrong. What they're saying is genuinely wrong. Half of them are just like, oh, it's a word I hear on TV. When you sit them down and go, hey, this is why this is wrong. This is a anti-Black racial slur. Let me help give you the tools to be better, or let's educate you. They can take that. It's a choice. Racism is a choice. People can choose to educate others and be better, or they can choose to continue digging the hole and playing in the dirt and being, therefore, racist.
So when you brought this idea to your school and you pushed for it, what was the reception? Was it positive? Was it negative? How did your school take it at the time?
At the time, it was my last year in high school, and I went to my socials teacher at the time, and she advocated for me. She helped me put it into fruition. We came up with the curriculum ourselves with the help of Raven Gadeja Anderson. I have so much respect for that woman. I love her. But we sat down, we came up with a full rubric for the whole month where it involved not only seriousness, but involved also making crafts, making it fun for all grades and all ages within that school. Not only that, but the reception was wonderful. Being able to hear teachers say they actually wanted to help bring Black history to Holy Trinity. Being able to hear that after being put down by people for years, being told I'm not good enough because of what I look like for years, being targeted, bullied, death threats galore for 12 years. And then that 12th year hearing, you know what, we can do this. We will allow you the permission to put together a rubric to make sure that these young people are educated on not just racism, but Black power, Black innovators, inventors, how Black people have contributed to our society, and how they have made it better for modern day, right? If I didn't do that, I don't know what I'd be doing. I don't know what would be happening right now.
Well, you did that, and that has spurred you into the work you're currently working on now. So do you mind telling me a little bit about the project you're currently working on?
I'll gladly tell you about it. I'm currently teamed up with Newfoundland Labrador English School District to implement the Anti-Racism Policy Act. So that instead of there being no, I don't know how to say this, but instead of there being no repercussions for racism, there will actually be something done, and it will be a mandatory, ineffective thing. Well, effective thing. It will be in effect. But I am so excited to be able to not just educate the students, but the parents, because it starts at home. Because a child is malleable. You can groom them to feel how you feel, or you can make them feel how this one feels. The child's mind is easily formable. If you breed a child to see that somebody is inferior based upon their characteristics or based upon their beliefs, that child will believe that and they will push that onto other people. But if instead of doing that, you start with that child, you teach them about how to be a good person, how to be an anti-racist, and then teach the parents, and then the parents help push that ideology onto the child, because the child's going to listen to their parents or their guardian or whoever is taking care of them. If you help mold that child to be a decent human being, that there is what helps get the young people of this society, because the society is moving forward. We are having a newer group, a newer generation come forward. We need that generation to also have an anti-racist mindset, because it's a choice. In order to be better for the future, you have to choose what you want to output into this world.
Absolutely. So over the course of this month, I've gotten different guests, and I've always asked them the specific question of what their Black experience has been in the province, both good and bad. It's a chance to share with our viewers what is going on in the lives of Black folks here. So I'm going to ask you, as someone who's been here for basically their whole life, what has your experience been? And feel free to be as honest as you want to be, as open as you feel like you can be, but what have been the good and bad points for you?
I've had a lot of negativity within my lifetime of being a student, and not just being a student, but being a Black woman within this province. I have had death threats, I have had physical assault, sexual harassment, sexual assault. I've had the worst of the worst. For me personally, I've experienced the worst of the worst. My neighbors, other educators within the system have said things about me in very anti-Black ways. I was asked if I was out of my cotton-picking mind by a former teacher of mine. I have been barbarized. On the bus, people would get on showing me videos of the Ku Klux Klan, saying if we didn't get out of town, that we'd be next. They would make jokes saying, what do you call a bunch of Black people hanging from trees? An Alabama wind chime. And that was one of the favorited jokes by my neighbors. These people would get on and they would sing the Alabama and I want to be free. They would sing that. They would purposely find any way to show that they dislike my Blackness every day for the 45-minute bus ride to and from school. I would face that every day from grade 7 to 12, because Holy Trinity was a 7 to 12. I've had people accuse me of stealing in stores. I've been asked to leave stores. I've called my mother and father on multiple different occasions crying about, hey, I went to an event and I was told that the only thing I'm good for is producing grandchildren for somebody because they'll have beautiful grandchildren with curly hair. I've been told that I am a monkey. I've been called everything under the sun. You name it. I dare say people have probably made a dictionary of words they can come up with to call me. But I don't let that make me sad, because on their part it shows a lack of education. It shows that people are not caring about them enough to sit down with them and teach them that it is wrong. It shows a lack of love for them on their part. So it makes me think about what's going on with them at home. It makes me pity them, because why feel bad for myself if I know that I'm doing good, right? Why would I ever feel sad about that? I have no need to feel sad. I can educate them and we can move forward.
That's very sad and touching, but I thank you for being honest and sharing what those experiences like. So now I'm going to ask you if we can look into the future.
Indeed we can.
If we look into the future, what are your hopes and dreams for Black youth coming up now, through the system, through our society here in our province? When you say, I dream of a black future, what do you dream for that black future in this province?
I dream of a black future where we can walk up our streets and feel safe. I dream of a future where we can see peace, because we cannot see a anti-racist future when there are still going to be parents who choose to be ignorant with their children. I want to see a time for us within Newfoundland and Labrador where we can feel safe within our education systems, where we can feel that we belong where we are. I don't ever want for a child within the next 30, 40 years to come to me and say, I don't feel safe here. I want for all children, adults, and people of all ages, people of all races to be able to come to me and say they feel safe. That's all I want for people, is safety, love, and a sense of belonging.
And so, to leave our audience with a few parting words, what's one thing you want them to know about Black History Month, Black history here within the province, or about you?
Honestly, I would love for them to know that within here, within my being of here, I'm only 19 years old, I came up with a promise to myself that I will never let any child, any minority, any man, woman, person ever feel the way that I did, feel the abandonment that I did from the education system, feel the abandonment from my community. I would never want anybody else to experience that. So my goal within my activism life is to make sure that people have that sense of security and belonging. I will never, ever, ever stop until I feel that I have done my duties as a woman, as a nurturer, as a lover of people, because I can't hate people for what they've done. It's a lack of education, a lack of understanding. I just want to bring everybody together, no matter whether it be food or whether it be music, any way to show people that we are all deeper connected no matter what. I'll do it. That's all I want to show people, is that I'll do it.
I want to thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, Olivea.
And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity.
And we'll be right back, everyone.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
I want to thank all of you for tuning in to today's episode. It was so much fun getting to talk to Brian and seeing a little bit about his art on the art of being Black. I want to give a very special thank you to Olivea for sharing her vulnerability on her Black experience here within the province and inspiring us to do a little bit more to make sure that Black youth coming up have a better experience than she did. If you're interested in finding out more about Black History Month, stay tuned all month long. And see you all next time.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
This March, the biggest talent competition in the country is going to get even bigger. Canada's Got Talent is back, and this season's winner is going